When I first got into sales, I went 0 for 56 in sales. I also did not do well on my test, failed that 12 times.
How?
I know. I remembered a mentor telling me, like, go find somebody with fruit on the tree and learn from them and let their ceiling be your floor. Bought the program, passed the test, and then I continued to learn from other people. In the first year in real estate, I made $222,000.
People who take massive action do it because the purpose of that action exceeds the cost of however difficult that action is going to be, or that goal is going to be to hit.
Get you something that you don't have. So that's a shofar.
A shofar? Is it like a I don't know, a deer's antler? Like, what is it?
It's a ram horn, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, and so you can actually, like, you blow into it, and I got it 2 years in Israel, and so this is, I feel like it's a thing that you will carry, like, I think it'll give you favor in land real estate deals. I think it'll give you favor just in life, and it'll make, like, spiritual walls fall.
And this is from Israel.
It's from Israel. Yep.
I love that. Is that what they do?
Yeah. No. You could probably watch some YouTube on how to do it, but it's basically like a horn. You put it in your mouth and you go, and it's.
Oh. Welcome to another episode of the Wealthy Way podcast, where our mission is to help you not go broke, trying to get rich. Today, my guest brought me a Kunkel. If you guys have never heard of a Kunkel, neither have I, but it's straight from Israel. It's going to give me a lot of favor. I'm super excited about it. And apparently you can blow it like a horn.
Yeah, yeah. It's actually called a shofar.
Shofar, like Jafar from Aladdin.
Yeah. Yep,
okay.
Yep.
It's cool.
Yeah.
I really like it. I appreciate it, bro.
Yeah. Thank you. You're welcome.
Yeah. So, Kyle, you are a real estate agent out in Durango, Colorado.
Yep.
It's like, how many people are there?
Like 20,000 people.
20,000 people.
Yep.
And I think a lot of people who would be in a small town like that would think there's not like a lot of opportunity to have real estate or build a career or a big business, but you're making it happen in only a few years in real estate.
Yep. A few years in real estate, 3 years in real estate, and making it happen.
Yeah. What was interesting is, like, we were talking pre-show and stuff, was, you started out in baseball, similar to me, and you were on mission trips and you met your wife young, like a lot of interesting parallels.
Yeah.
How did you get to where you're at?
Well, I think for me, probably just always just learning from people, but really just trusting the process and being okay with failure and all of that. But yeah, I think baseball teaches you how to fail. Like, you go, I mean, if you're going 1 for 3, you're in the Hall of Fame. Like, so I think, so understanding, like, just in sales, like when I first got into sales, not into real estate, but into marketing, I went 0 for 56 in sales.
What was your first sales job?
Yeah, it was actually selling ads in a magazine that I was a franchise, and I had started that. And my best clients were real estate agents. And so I grew that company finally to making like $10K a month, but I knew that there was more, and I was always intrigued by real estate investing. And I thought the first thing I should do is get my license. And not necessarily that you need that, but that was kind of the first move for me. And except I also did not do well on my test, failed that 12 times. And my wife,
you?
I did, yeah.
How? Like,
I know. I've never been.
And why did you want to even stay with real estate? Like, after failing that many times?
Yeah, my wife was like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And I was like, "Yeah, I do." And I remembered a mentor telling me, like, go find somebody with fruit on the tree and learn from them and let their ceiling be your floor. And so I started to do that and understand that. So I went and got this program, bought the program, passed the test, and then I continued to learn from other people. In the first year in real estate, I made $222,000.
Wow.
And so, which is, great.
That's crazy.
Great for me. And just that, but it was just being open and humble enough to be willing to learn.
So, you still didn't answer. How the heck did you fail 12 times? Like, if you were, like, hanging out and, like, I mean, obviously you killed it once you got in.
Yeah.
Like, what happened?
Yeah, I think, honestly, like I said, I'm just not great at taking tests, and I didn't study the way that I should have, and I just needed to study in a different way, and that learning to invest in myself allowed me to pass the test, and that was kind of that trigger.
You passed it after you got the mentorship and stuff. All right, you kept trying to do it on your own, and
and then I
obviously wasn't working out.
Obviously.
So, Yeah, it's funny because I see a lot of people who fail in just whatever they're trying to do, whether it's flipping houses or wholesaling or starting a business. And look, the majority of people do fail.
Yeah.
I mean, like, what's the statistic? It's like 80% of small businesses fail within 5 years. Most people who want to invest in real estate don't.
Yep.
And majority of those people don't have any kind of mentorship or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, for you obviously were failing, like many others. Actually, you failed a lot more than most would.
Yeah.
Most would just take the test once and be like, this ain't it.
Yep.
Maybe twice. So
yeah.
I think that's an interesting thing. So you're playing baseball too?
Yeah. So I was playing baseball in college, and I played football and baseball in high school, and I was just better at baseball, and so played at a small school in Oregon called Corbin University, and then played 4 years there. Played a summer in the Dominican, and that was kind of what got me into the whole travel, kind of a travel bug almost. But it was more just seeing. I love the way that culture plays baseball. And
Dominicans.
So just being in the Dominican, and so so I played baseball. Yep.
Yeah, man, I'll tell you, the Dominicans. I mean, they're just so many good players.
Yeah.
That was the big shell shock for me when I got into pro baseball.
Yeah.
Just seeing all these guys and that's all they know.
Mm-hmm.
And also seeing that they have no backup plan.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you don't make it,
that's it.
I mean, you're going to be in a third world country, super poor.
Yeah. And I think that's what's really opened my eyes in a lot of ways they just had so much fun with the game, even though there was so much pressure to perform. And I think all of that was a mixture of good. I remember watching a game, and there was this, it was a shortstop who had made 2 errors in a row, and he was pouting, and the third baseman walks over and just knocks him in the chin. They get up, and then they finished the inning, and they went out and scored 4 or 5 runs, and it was just it was so different.
Yeah.
But it was just that intensity, yet family, and just correcting him in a unique way. But you're right. I mean, poverty, they're in true poverty, and so to be able to get out of that, baseball is their way.
Yeah. I'm actually going to the Dominican this month.
Nice.
So
nice. Where are you going?
Dang, I forget what it's called. It's not, I went to the Dominican last year. I went to Punta Cana. And that was fun. But this is a different spot.
Cool.
So I like it out there.
Yeah, no, it's
nice.
beautiful, beautiful ocean, beautiful people, culture's fun.
Yeah.
And then baseball, yeah.
Yeah. You said you had the travel bug. What does that mean?
So I had done some mission work when I was a kid. My parents, in second grade, I moved from California to Mexico, and we lived there for 6 months, and I hated it.
What part of Mexico?
It was outside of Chihuahua, and my dad was helping build some type of business there.
Okay.
It was teaching English, and it got really dangerous, so we moved back to California. But it was I didn't like it. I got picked on. I didn't speak the language, and I had to. I don't know. It was just such a weird time, and I was young. But that was my experience of traveling outside the country. But when I went to the Dominican, I was like, this is awesome. This is fun. And so it kind of led into my next season of life after baseball. I ended up doing something called the World Race, where I went to 11 countries, 11 months, and got to do mission work all around the world and help people. So
is the World Race a Christian thing? Or
it is. It is.
It
It sounds like it's not, but it's through Adventures and Missions.
Okay.
But it's actually called the World Race.
So how does that work?
So you sign up, and basically you go through an interview process. You go to the training camp, which is 3 or 4 days where they don't feed you. Not really, they don't feed you, but you get less food than you normally would.
Yeah.
And when you're out of college, I'm like, gosh, I got to eat. And so, but anyways, they set you up on a team, and so they were sending out big groups of basically 50 people at a time to these different countries, and then you split up into pods of 7 or 8, and you partner with full-time missionaries that were there. So we went to Guatemala, Honduras.
So 7 or 8 of you would go to one spot.
To one spot and work with that missionary for the entire month. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So you and 8 other people, was it the same 8 people the whole year?
Not the whole year. There's times so the squad would switch the teams every 3 months or so, just to mix it up. And
so where did you go?
Yeah. So I went to Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Thailand, Laos, Cambodia, Malaysia, the Philippines, South Africa, and Swaziland.
I want to go to the Philippines.
Yeah.
I have not ever been to the homeland.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was beautiful. Like, I mean, the country was beautiful. We worked with like kids who are kind of in gang life, and so we would take them up to basically like this mini castle on a hill, and we would mentor them and teach them English and play sports with them, and just kind of get them out of their situation because they would be living on the streets, during those times. So
you were in a different spot each month.
Yep.
Why is it only 11 months? Why not just
12? I don't know. I should ask Seth Barnes, the guy who created it, to ask him that question, but probably because, well, I don't know. I was gonna say maybe because of Christmas, but that just happened to be our group because there's people who were in other countries for Christmas. Right. But yeah, I don't know.
Interesting. So you do that. I mean, that was like right after college.
Right after college. Yep.
I mean, what was like the biggest thing you learned from that experience? Like, what are some things that happened?
I think some of the biggest things I learned was to really appreciate, obviously, everything I have. I didn't grow up with a lot as a kid, but seeing like even just our first month, like in Guatemala, we worked with a dump ministry, and there's these people's houses were made out of trash and made pennies a day, and so to see that like true poverty was really something that like really just hit me, but it also, I feel like, set me up for the business world in a lot of ways I wouldn't know. But just being able to connect with anyone, because you don't need to speak the same language with someone to kick a ball or to throw a ball or anything like that. So just that's the beauty of sports, but just having that skill, I guess, to connect with anyone, I think was really awesome. But really just, I feel like the overall theme was to appreciate everything you have and to live a life full of adventure.
Yeah. So what did you end up, I mean, I think you were telling me earlier, you met your wife during that time too?
Yeah. I need to phrase this right, because I would say that I met my wife on the world race and they're like, oh, what country is she from? But last time I did a little talk there, they were like, well, did you meet her in like Nicaragua? Or I was like, no, she's from the U.S. She was
awesome. One of the missionaries.
She was one of the missionaries. Yep. Just to be clear. And we actually weren't on the same squad. So we just met at training camp. She came out of the bathroom wearing a Nevada sweatshirt. And I was like, oh, my buddy played football there. And she had played basketball there. And we just started talking and we ended up finding out a lot of similarities. Like, she was from Durango. And originally I was like, I wasn't born in Durango, but I moved there when I was like 6 months old, and I'd lived there for like until second grade. So it was weird that we were both from the same small town, but had no idea each other. So that was like the first kicker. And then we just kind of stayed connected throughout the year and then pursued each other after. So yeah.
It's funny because I asked you, I was like, what was the biggest takeaway? I was kind of like laying it up for you. And
my wife.
You don't even mention your wife. And I'm like, all right.
No, that's good. That's good. Yeah, no, she definitely was the biggest takeaway. But I thought you were talking about lesson, but that too. So yeah.
Yeah. You go on a mission trip. You might get married.
You might. Yeah.
That's the lesson.
That's the lesson. I love it.
Yeah. My wife and I met on a canoeing trip.
Nice.
In college. We both took the selective for canoeing, and freaking, I was like, all right, I like what I see. Like, let me see what this girl's all about. And then, we had similar faith and values and different things, and the rest is history.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So, you traveled all these countries. You then go into sales, and, now you're doing the real estate thing in Durango. I mean, let's talk about this, because I've got properties in Big Bear, California. And, Big Bear is a small town.
Yep.
And I don't even know how many people are in it now. But the sign says like 5,000. But I got to imagine there are more people there now. But there's so much, just everyone's like second home.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah.
The same as in Durango.
I wouldn't say everybody's is a second home. It's not quite full second home, but there are a lot of, I would say, maybe almost 50% is second home. A lot of people like to live there. Well, I guess it would be a second home, but they live there for like 3 or 4 months or 6 months, or it's their fifth house or whatever it is. So there is definitely a lot of that. But yeah, there are a good amount of people that live there full time.
What's like the median home price there?
737.
Oh, okay. So it's pretty expensive out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is it like a secondary market to Vail and all those spots? Like,
Yeah, so
it's like the cheaper
Durango,
one?
Colorado is if you're looking to invest in real estate, I truly believe it's one of the it's the cheapest mountain town in Colorado. I mean, it's not Vail or Telluride or Aspen or anything like that. So it's still unreached and untouched in a lot of ways. But great amenities and access to all the outdoor stuff. So as soon as the airport gets bigger and gets more direct flights, I think it's really going to blow up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Big Bear don't have any direct flights, and
That's true.
It's
But it's got probably like closer, bigger cities maybe.
Well, I mean, I drive from Vegas and it takes 3.5 hours, but
Yeah.
like people from LA, it takes 2 hours. There's
Yeah. So that's nice. Like Durango's just harder to get to. Like the closest big city is Albuquerque. Other than that, it's like
Mexico?
New Mexico, yeah. So it's like Southwest Colorado. And other than that, you got Denver, that's 7 hours. You got Phoenix, that's 7 hours. So those are the closest big cities.
So people fly into Phoenix and they drive 7 hours to Durango?
No, there's direct flights, but I'm saying like if you were to like driving distance.
Got it.
Yeah, direct flights are Dallas, Denver, Phoenix.
Oh, okay. So that makes it easy. So, man, that's pretty expensive. But I'll say like the reason I picked Big Bear, almost going on 6 years now, was because, you know, I looked at it for the same reason. I was like, this is the cheapest mountain town in California.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, you can go to Tahoe or Mammoth or these other towns, but like this is way cheaper.
Yep.
And it's way closer for us in Vegas. And so I was like, this is undervalued.
Yeah.
Like what's an average home in Aspen cost?
That's a good question. Probably like 10 million. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if that's the average, but I mean, the average square foot price in Telluride, I know that because that's only 2.5 hours from us. That's 2,500 a square foot.
2,500 a foot.
Yeah.
I've never even heard of Telluride.
So yeah, it's also
I've heard of Aspen and Vail.
Yeah. Telluride's another hidden gem. I think it's prettier than both those places.
2,500 a foot. That's crazy.
Yeah.
What's it a foot out there in Durango?
So for brand new construction, high end, there's probably about 3 builders doing it, about anywhere from 1,000 to 1,200 a square foot. But your average probably house is around 400, maybe 300. Once you get out inside of some of the smaller cities that are or like towns that are 15, 20 minutes away, you can get into like 200 a square foot, 200 and something.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's pretty crazy. So I mean, like last year you had a good year. This year, you know, your goal's to do what?
$1 million.
$1 million.
Yep.
As just a realtor.
As just on the real estate side.
We don't have many realtors come on the show. You know, most of the people on the show are entrepreneurs or, you know, big investors. But I know like a ton of people watch are realtors and agents. So, I mean, what do you think has led to a lot of the success in just a few years? And like I guess not that's what's led to a lot of the success, but like, what are you going to be doing differently to get to the next level too? Yeah,
no, that's a great question. I think for me, definitely like what's led to a lot of the success, I think, is being willing to learn from other people and also having the right mindset. So I have this thing where I read this letter to myself every day, and that letter is full of truths about my identity, goals, and dreams. And it just gets me in the right mindset. And no matter what happens, like I can't lose from that. And so I think that's the number one, like the core thing, like foundationally.
So you read a letter that you wrote. How long ago did you write it?
About 4 years ago.
And you've read it every day?
Yeah.
Like, do you just like read it in the mirror? Like, what do you do?
No, great question. I have like a amazing morning routine, but the morning, the letter, I read it basically in some part of my workout. So whether it's I'm on the Peloton or running or lifting weights or whatever it is, and I read it at like a heightened state in my workout. And I have it memorized. So I don't like actually sit there and read it now, but I have it memorized. So I'll say it, and it's just, I believe faith comes through hearing. In order to hear something, you have to speak it. And so I'm speaking out these truths over my life and just my dreams, my goals, all that stuff.
How long does it take?
A minute.
What, like, don't give me the whole thing, but like, what's some of the stuff in it?
Yeah. I'll just give you like the first part, but it says like, "Dear Kyle Kunkel, you're a winner, a man of God, and after God's own heart. You dream bigger and go bigger than anyone else out there. God is for you. Nothing can be against you." There's that part. And then there's a part that says, get on my level or get out of the way, holding up the numbers before and after I walk into the appointment like Michael Jordan, and get that killer instinct. You're hungry for blood, for that sale, because that means you're going to provide for your family and you're going to be able to give to God's kingdom and like all these other things.
That's awesome.
So there's that piece. There's also a piece in there that, so obviously I don't have it memorized for a great stage like this. But
The nerves.
the nerves got me.
I should have called you up on stage at WealthCon and then just been like, recite it right now.
Yeah, I might have been done better.
No, that's cool, man. I think it's funny because it's like mixed of like the humbleness with also the confidence.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I mean, for me, obviously being a Christian, I put my faith in God and everything that I do. And that in turn gives me more confidence to go do the things that, I do on like a day-to-day basis.
Yep.
Right. But I've never been one of those guys who've done positive affirmations.
Sure.
Like I've always been a guy who's like, I just know.
Yeah.
I'm like, I walk around like knowing.
You know who you are.
Like I'm confident
Yep.
and I'm good. I don't like need to remind myself.
Sure.
But I know most people are not like that. Most people have very self-limiting beliefs, self-doubt, anxiety, just lack of confidence and all these things.
Yep.
So do you think that like doing that 4 years ago was like a major reason why you were able to grow so fast?
I think so. I don't know if there was a lack of, I like to think of myself as confident in knowing all those things, but I think that it just,
because you hadn't proved it yet.
I haven't. You're right.
You
That
were
was
like saying it
before it was. Yeah. But it wasn't so much of like, hey, name it, claim it, and be all weird about it. It was just like, hey, I think a lot of times we just have to be reminded of our identity and who we are, because people aren't always perfect and they'll mess up, but they don't let it. If a lot of people, that could throw them off the tracks. But if you remind yourself of who you are, I think that's where it's like, hey, I may have messed up in that moment, but that's not who I am, right? And so I think just having that truth and remembering those truths, I think that's what's been key for me.
You said you have like a whole morning routine. That's during your workout. What's the rest of the routine?
Yeah, so I've been waking up around 4:30 in between there, and it starts really the night before. So I've been writing down my goals and dreams the night before, because I believe like people write them down in January and then they never write them down again. And your goals need fuel. Your body, just like your body or your car, it needs fuel. And so I write them down, and then I write down just some of the activities that I'm going to do. And then before I go to sleep, I have it's kind of what I call like the golden hour or whatever. So in that first hour of wake is some of the most productive time that I could be in, and creative time. So the night before, some of my biggest problems that I have, whether it's creating a YouTube video or figuring out how to, sell $5 million homes or $20 million homes, how do I solve that problem? So I'll just be like, Holy Spirit or conscious, like help me figure this out. I'll go to sleep, and then I call it like, how to gain 8 hours to, over your competitors, because I'm sleeping, but my subconscious is solving this big problem. So I'll wake up, I'll be able to have the problem solved. Not always, but I'll have a piece of it or like an idea. So I'll write it down in the morning, and then I spend some time in prayer and journaling, writing down what I'm thankful for. And then from there I'll go and I'll do my power hour of work. So whether it's like creating, YouTube ideas or content or
This all at home?
All at home, yeah. And then from there, I'll go work out, do the letter to myself. Lately, we've been doing this thing with some buddies of working out outside at 6 a.m. and just doing all body weight stuff, and then we'll jump in the river afterwards, do a little cold plunge.
Whoa.
Yeah, and yeah.
What's the temperatures out there right
Yeah,
now?
the coldest was 16 degrees outside. I'm not sure what the water was, but it's cold and there's snow on the grounds.
So you were working out in that?
Yeah.
You guys are, why?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I think just mental. So it's called F3. It's like fellowship, faith, and fitness, and so they have them all over. But we're starting like a chapter in our area, and it was cool to. There's a lot of men out there who just don't have community. Like once you get married and you get into business, and they just kind of lose that desire. or
like
not that
that.
desire, but just like that connection.
We're starting a business called Wealthy Kingdom.
Cool.
And
we should talk about that.
Yeah, no, that's why I'm bringing it up. So, but actually, by the time this podcast launches, you guys can go get it, wealthykingdom.com.
Sweet.
But basically, over the years, like I've always posted about my Bible studies and things at our office, and people always DM me, they're like, Ryan, can I join the Bible study? And most people obviously who follow me are not in Las Vegas. If they're in Vegas, I'm always like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But if they're not, they're like, can I zoom in? And I'm like, nah, it's private. Like, there's things that are said in there that can't be on Zoom.
Sure.
And
yeah.
like people's personal lives.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyways, I, over the years, like I known that like, man, dude, if there's a way to like scale this nationwide, it'd be amazing. And, finally after scaling all these other companies and education and communities, I'm like, all right, now's the time. We have the skill set. We have the, the audience and the ability to attract the right people. And, basically we are launching, a hybrid model. So like, there's going to be the private group, and there's going to be like the weekly Zoom calls with pastors and, celebrity Christians and other things.
Nice.
But the main, like that part's easy. The main part that's tough is going to be starting the local chapters. And so I'm going to be starting local chapters, nationwide.
Cool.
With these Bible studies. So we have the curriculums for, every month for what we're going to study. And like, the main thing is going to be, finding really good leaders and strong believers who are going to be able to lead those Bible studies and, really handle those local chapters.
Yeah. Nice.
So I'm excited about that, but I love hearing the different things like that you've already experienced. Like I've never heard of F3, but I'm like already in my mind, I'm like, yeah, what if the people in Wealthy Kingdom started working out together?
Yeah.
Doing all the, like, that would be tight, because we're already going to do mission trips, and we're going to do big events, and we're going to do like couples retreats and all those things. Like, it's going to be amazing. But then like, hearing you talk about the 11 months in 11 countries, I was like, why can't we do that? That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So
I love it.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Cool.
So we're going to have a Durango chapter.
Yeah, I'm down. Let's do it.
You guys are already doing it.
Yeah, that's true. Just some good curriculum and
Well, and the cool thing is, hopefully, I'll be able to attract just all these people nationwide. So there's people in Durango that you don't know that are now going to be able to come, and you guys can all have fellowship and community. It's going to be great.
Yeah, no, I think that's awesome.
It'll have a common purpose of like, it's entrepreneurs and business people who are believers or who are seeking faith and all that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Sorry to interrupt this podcast, but because we are talking about Wealthy Kingdom, I got to tell you guys, it is ready. We have our pre-launch pricing right now, and we are starting May 1st. So if you are interested in joining our community and you're interested in getting the weekly calls and access to the local Bible studies and access to our retreats and mission trips and everything else that we are going to launch, you're going to want to go to wealthykingdom.com and take advantage of that launch pricing today. I am so excited about it. Doesn't matter whether you're a longtime Christian who is looking for more fellowship, or if you're somebody who is seeking and not sure what you believe yet, we welcome both of you. We want you guys in Wealthy Kingdom. It is going to be a great place for you to grow in your faith in Jesus. So go to wealthykingdom.com, take advantage of the pre-launch pricing, and I'll see you there.
Yeah, it's been cool because I even gotten like business owners in the area who are like, hey, what is that? I want to come, and so it's also been an opportunity for people just to come learn, which has been cool too. That are just open to, because I feel like once you play, like you played college and pro ball, and after you kind of get out of that, you lose that camaraderie in a way, or people who are in the military, they lose that camaraderie. So you get married, you have kids, and you start to just lose that.
Yeah, because you're obviously focused on your family, and
yeah,
I've even struggled with that where, like obviously I put my family, very high on the priority list, but I also put fellowship and friends, and like that stuff's also very important.
Yeah,
but it's hard to maintain those relationships.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, so I'm excited for this because I think a lot of Christians struggle to find other Christians in the business space.
Yeah.
And I think this is going to simplify it for everyone.
Make it really simple. And that's true, because I feel like that's super important to have that connection all the way around.
Yeah. So you talked about like a power hour, which is interesting. I've heard like that term before, but you said you'll do your morning routine, then you'll hit an hour of work, then work out. Whereas I've always been like, let me go finish off all my like stuff working on me. I'll go pray and do all my things. I'll go work out. I'll go knock all that out. Then I'm gonna go work. Why do you choose to like do an hour of work?
Yeah, I think, it's after I spend time in like prayer and journaling and writing down what I'm thankful for and all those things. But I feel like it's just a time where my brain and creative side of me is more alive and awake. And so I get to access that and just be really, really creative and productive, and then go work out. Because I think when you work out, you can still be creative if you want, but it's more, your just focus is different, and you use a lot of energy, and it gets the endorphins going and all that kind of stuff. But I feel like during that power hour, I don't know, it's just, it's something special.
It's like it's a very, it's your most productive hour.
Yeah. And I believe that, 20% of your time makes 80% of your income.
Right.
So if you can figure out like, hey, where's my IPA, increasing profit activity, HLA, high leverage activity, like where's my time best spent? I think that's it.
Yeah, I agree. Cause I, unknowingly have kind of like understood the power hour, especially on weekends when I don't have to go to work or anything.
Sure.
So, like on the weekends or something, like I'll do my normal running routine, and then usually I don't work out on the weekends.
Yeah.
So I'm up early,
sure,
and the kids aren't awake. And so I'll be like, all right, what do I want to do? Mm-hmm. And so like, I'll start working on some like new idea.
Yeah.
And then, the kids wake up and I'm done. But like, it's basically like that. It's like, I got an
Yeah.
hour of like just full focus, no distractions. And, I've gotten a lot of like big things that have happened during like the power hour unknowingly.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you mentioned too,
Sweet.
Going to bed thinking about a problem. And that's kind of weird for me because I usually go to bed like trying to be peaceful and not thinking about a problem, because then I can't go to sleep.
Yeah.
Because I'll be like, oh man, dude, I gotta solve this problem right now. That's like how my personality is.
Yeah, that's true. I guess it could be different for everybody. Yeah.
Yeah. But I just like like when I go to sleep, I'm just like trying to drown out everything and just like have nothing in my mind.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like I'm so tired that usually happens.
Yeah.
But I feel like I can just take a little bit of a thing, whatever it is, like, hey, how am I going to do this? And then just trust that it's going to get solved. And so I'm not trying to solve it. Like I'm not worried about it, because like my trust is fully just in that process and in God, that he's going to give me the wisdom, or he's going to give me the idea. And so I just kind of let it go.
Yeah.
And I'm able to sleep. So I guess everybody's, the way they think is different. So that may be harder for some people.
So, I mean, what did you do though after the morning routine and everything to grow your real estate business so fast? Like what did your day look like? Were you just prospecting or like?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of prospecting on the phone, calling expireds, FSBOs, just focusing on like higher end homes and luxury, just because I felt like that was a market that people are afraid to get into for whatever reason. Like their mindset is off, or they're just worried, they don't feel comfortable or whatever it is. But I've realized like, these people, a lot of them have come from not a lot either. So they appreciate the hustle. But also just treating them like a real person. They got a heartbeat. They got, they bleed red. So it's not like anything different.
Right.
And they appreciate that when you treat them like that. Obviously I have respect in their stuff, but that was what it was, like using a script, having a presentation down when I got in front of them, and using from somebody else who has been super successful in the business, and not trying to just do it on my own. And I mean, doing it on my own, but not on my own, I guess, just like using a system that worked, and no matter what market you're in. And so that's how I've been able to kind of.
And what do you think like the difference will be to the next stage?
For me, it was hiring, right? So figuring out where my time is best spent. And so I hired a couple virtual assistants in the Philippines who do a lot of my social media stuff, which has been great. Having a YouTube guy, he kind of runs my YouTube stuff. Being able to hire inside sales assistants. I have a couple guys in Mexico that do my inside sales assistants. And then hiring buyer agents that when it's at a certain price point that, I still work with friends and family, but if it's at a certain price point, then I've learned to just delegate it and let it go and realize that, hey, my time is better spent doing something else.
Right. Yeah. You're in the manage stage, you know. I got a philosophy of make, manage, multiply. And, stage one is make 250 with a skill on your own, which you did. I mean, you basically hit it your first year as a realtor. Then you go into the second stage of manage, which is like, hey, in order to scale, I only have so many hours in the day.
Exactly.
I can only prospect so much. I can only show so many houses. Like, what am I going to do? I got to hire. So, like, how much have the growing pains been in that process of finding good people and stuff?
Yeah, it's been hard in a lot of ways. I think the first, inside sales assistant I had was actually a licensed agent, and I was really just like, it was a funny thing because I was like, they were okay at it, and I was just giving them everything, but it just wasn't what they were. It was better for me just to give them leads to go show property, and it just wasn't a skill set. So yeah, I think it's been a process, but I have a guy now he's definitely overqualified and he's crushing it.
That's good.
Yeah.
Just got to keep giving them more and more things to do and responsibility and leads and all that.
But I think as I continue to grow and bring in, maybe I have like 15 inside sales assistants or 20 inside sales assistants selling like everything. I think that's kind of where finding the right people is going to be key. So I think for me, I've already decided like, hey, I'm going to hire somebody who's been an athlete. Hire somebody who, understands like how to work hard and who's willing to learn. And, for me, I like faith-based just because there's already like that conscience kind of built in maybe in some ways. I can trust them a little bit more. Not that people don't do each other wrong. Yeah.
I think what you're referring to more so is core values.
Yeah.
And, one of the
just
things,
like your core values up there. That was great. Love that.
Yep. So one of the things we always teach companies is, when you're first getting into this manage stage and you're going to hire people, the number one thing you got to first go through is core values. What are things that are important to you, right? And honestly, a core value is non-negotiable.
Yep.
And so if you're going to say this is a core value, you will not hire anyone who lacks this. No matter how good they are, no matter how much money they can make, you're not going to hire them.
Yeah.
Because they'll destroy the rest of the company.
Yep.
And so like for us, I made our core values over 3 years ago and I have yet to change them.
Nice.
We had serve others. So I wanted people who were strictly all about just helping other people. If you're just all about me, then you ain't a good fit, right?
Yep.
Next one was train daily. I wanted people who were going to get, better every single day, not be content with just, floating.
Yep.
The next was play fair. I wanted people who had integrity and people I could trust. And then the last one is no ego. I want people who are really good, but I don't need you to tell me you're really good.
Yeah.
When there's a saying that my business coach, Gary, who we've actually partnered with on another company called Wealthy Business, where he says, when you're good, you'll tell people you're good and that like everything. When you're great, people will tell you.
Yeah.
And so it's an interesting thing.
Yeah, that's true. That's good.
So yeah, I think that's what the next phase is going to be for you. When you go hire these 15 sales reps, you're going to have your core values in line. You're going to have to, make sure they understand those in the interview process. They're non-negotiable. And, from there, obviously, hey, what's their experience? How hungry are they for the job? How talented are they naturally at the job? And, all right, all those check the box. You're good with the pay. Cool. Well, let's give it a shot.
Let's roll. Yeah.
Yeah. So because that eliminates so much headache for us.
Yeah.
Like we get so many applicants every week.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we got to have like a really good filtering process.
Nice.
And, you've walked around, so like everybody's very friendly and
nice.
Like,
and
the values are like, you can tell like everyone, regardless of Christian or not,
sure,
they all have the same core values.
Yeah. Yeah. That's important.
It was funny. One of my core values, we did have a fifth that we had to get rid of before it ever became value. And he's like, what do you want for the last one? I was like, I want them to be like intelligent. And he's like, okay, like, you want smart people. That's good. He's like, so if somebody has the other four and they're not smart, will you take them? And, they're a hard worker and everything else. And I was like, yeah, probably. Like, I mean, there's other jobs where you don't have to be like the smartest guy in the room.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, then it's not a core value. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I guess we can. And yeah, let me tell you, we've hired some people that they definitely would not qualify as the smart people.
Yeah.
They're college or high school dropouts, and and being a high school dropout doesn't make you not smart. But
yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, dude, I think that's super dope that you're going that path. What about investing?
Yeah. So, did a investment last year with, Airbnb, and it was actually a listing that I had.
How's the Airbnb market out there?
It's good. I mean, it's definitely slowed down. It's very seasonal.
Yeah.
In the sense of like, it's kind of like mud season now, and snows. I mean, we still have a lot of snow, but it's just not, people want to be warm now. They're tired of the winter. So it's a little slower right now, but summers are always awesome. Our summer last year was awesome, but the Airbnb market, I mean, people make anywhere from 70 to 150K on the house, depending on, price points and all that stuff and where it's at. But it was good. I mean, I took my commission, put it back in the deal. So that was great. And we remodeled some pieces of it, and it's doing well. There's a couple things I'm looking at, so I may flip it. But it's, just to go into something else or something bigger. But yeah.
How big is it?
It's not huge. It's like 2,800 square feet, 4-bedroom.
That is a huge house, dude. 2,800 square feet. My Airbnb cabins are like 900 square feet.
Oh, nice. Yeah, so it is bigger. We actually.
How much was it?
So it was $1,025,000.
Okay.
Yeah, and we actually split it into two because there's a separate entrance. So we put it in a kitchen on the other side.
Okay.
And we split it down the middle, but we have it where you can rent out the whole thing or just pieces of it. So, but yeah, it does well. But I think we may flip it. So
what do you think you'd flip it for now?
So I'm looking at a couple franchises for just the health industry, and so and then they're very hands off, and they're not in Durango. So I'm looking at those, and then eventually take that cash flow and put it into real estate. But I think they'll do better than the Airbnb. So it's just moving around money for me.
But what do you think you can flip the?
What I think I flip it for? After the remodel, and then we're gonna finish up putting. Some paint on it and stuff like that. But I think, we're trying to get a $1,035,000.
Okay.
Or $1,350,000, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1.3. Yeah. That'd be a good payday.
Yeah.
Then go buy some health franchises.
Yep.
I had Gary Brecka with 10X Health here.
Yeah.
A couple of months ago.
Nice.
And, their franchise model's super interesting with what they're doing. But Gary's a good buddy of mine. He actually hooked me up with his team to help get my son some stem cells and stuff.
Oh, that's awesome.
So,
that's awesome.
Super cool.
Yeah, we did the whole Gary thing with the, testing your genes and all that stuff and do all that. So yeah, it's good stuff.
So what are you looking at getting into with health?
I signed an NDA, so I can't necessarily talk about it, but it's just a hybrid of all of that stuff. All like the the cryo bed stuff and like all of that, all that stuff basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not like a gym or like a smoothie shop or something.
No,
Okay.
It's very much a more like higher end.
What do they call
membership.
them? Med spas?
It's like almost like a med spa, higher end, 24-hour service.
Oh.
That type of thing. Yeah.
Go in, just get freaking cryo, go get a red light therapy and some magnets and
all this stuff. Yep.
I haven't tried any of that stuff yet. Have you?
I've done some. I mean, I just like the jumping in the cold water.
I was gonna say you just hop in the freaking the lake where you guys are at and you're good. You don't you just step outside.
Yeah, we just step outside. Yeah, basically. But yeah, no, that's been kind of intense to do that. I've only been doing that for maybe like 3 weeks. So the cold water as far as like the river, but it it definitely, I feel good. My body feels good, all that stuff. So I know it's good for you.
Yeah. I mean, like to me, and this is one thing I found in like most successful people, like it comes down to mindset.
Yeah.
And like I can tell like which is your mindset. You're like very confident in your faith. You're confident in yourself. You have this desire to want to improve. You have this desire to be humble enough to say, hey, I need help. You know, I need mentors. I need this. You know, you've got this mindset of like, hey, I want to try these new things for my health and see if that improves me. What's the optimal hour to work? What are the problems? Like, you remind me a lot of me because I'm always like questioning things. And I'm like, is this the best way to do it? You know, what is the best thought to think to get the optimal result?
Yep.
Like how big of a thinker are you?
Yeah. No, great question. I think I definitely think, I think sometimes my wife's like, hey, like, hello, I'm talking to you. And I'm like over here thinking, right? And I think, for me, I'm definitely a thinker. So always trying to like I don't even solve problems, but just ideas or just going over scenarios in my head and all of that stuff. So yeah, definitely.
Do you have like a philosophy of just like, for me, to give an example, right? Like over the years, like I didn't realize I had a philosophy until people kept asking me the same questions and I kept giving the same answers. I'm like, this is how you do it. Like the way that, you know, people have been telling you to do this is wrong. This is the better way to do it. Right. And so then that eventually became the wealthy way.
Yep.
Because everybody was like, how do you run all these businesses? How do you still have time for your family? How do you stay in shape? How do you have time for faith? Like, I can't even do one properly. How do you do all of them?
Yeah.
And I'm like, before there was a wealthy way, it just was like a natural thing that I did. I'm like, well, of course I want to have a good family life. If I want to have a good family life, these are the steps that I need to take in order to do so. Oh, but guess what? If I want to put time into there, I have to take time
out of there
from here. But I still want to make this money and grow this. So how do I do it? And so you're like, you know, I came to this problem of like, well, the world would tell you that the only way to increase this is to spend more time here and sacrifice this. And I'm like, but there's got to be a way that allows you to do both.
Yep.
And, you know, obviously that's what we preach with the wealthy way now. But I'm curious, like, if you've kind of had any of those realizations over time.
Yeah. I mean, I think so. I guess I'm still in the process of creating like that philosophy of what that looks like and asking questions and stuff like that. But for me, it's Barefoot Life. Like, I think people should have fruit on the tree in all aspects of their life, right? Like spiritual, mental, physical, financial, and each one of those buckets are full, and not just full, but overflowing into other people, right? And I think the way you do that, you know, is delegating and trusting and kind of doing a lot of what you've already done, which I think is awesome. But yeah, for me, I believe it's finding people who not just are saying it, but are living it, and they have true fruit, right? Because some people may have fruit in their relationship, but they don't have fruit financially, right? Or they may be very, you know, have the fruit financially, but the relationships are suffering, and that's kind of like what the world, like you're saying, like, so how do you get all of it? And I think for me, that's kind of where I created, you know, Barefoot Life, you know.
So like, what is it? Like, what is Barefoot Life? Like, what did you create?
Yeah, so it's the, you know, millionaire mindset, create a millionaire mindset, and that's kind of like the course I've created, and it helps people kind of walk through how I've done that, and not coming from, you know, much, but being able to build that in my morning routine and all that kind of stuff. So yeah.
So the course is, you have a course, and where's it at?
Barefootlife.com.
Barefootlife.com. B-E-R.
Bear like raw bear.
B-E-A-R.
Yeah. Fruitlife.com.
Okay. And then the course is on mindset.
Yes. Yep.
Just the millionaire mindset.
Yeah.
So like going over morning routine, you mentioned. What else?
Yeah. So creating that morning routine, and then all those different aspects. Having someone like figure out like how to write that letter to themselves and have those truths that they say out loud. So it's all those things that I mentioned, but kind of just like walking them through it, because I think it's one thing to say something, but to actually do it is another thing. And so kind of walking someone through that process of actually taking action on it, or massive action on it.
How do you get somebody to take action? This is like something I've always struggled with because I don't have a good answer to it, because like people are like, well, but how do you like take so much action, do this? And I'm like, I don't know. Like I have the idea and I just do
it. Yeah.
I just do. You know, like,
I've wondered that too with like even coaching kids and coaching athletes. It's like some kids just have that inner like drive and they want to go to that next level and they want to take massive action. But then you have, the kid who maybe has a lot of talent, but they're not taking that action. They're not trying to learn.
Yeah.
They're not trying to all that stuff. So how do you do that? I think for me, helping people discover their why and what's going to help kind of move the ball down the court or down the field, but also asking the right questions, like asking like, what do you want? Like if you ask someone what they want, then you actually know how to help them versus just trying to sell them something that you don't know if they need it or not.
Yeah. It's, I have this saying that I came up with it at my last event, like on stage out of the blue.
Yeah.
Somebody just asked me this question. I was like, well, obviously your purpose has to exceed the cost. And then like, I started like thinking about it. I was like, man, I need to get that on a shirt, like purpose, greater sign, cost.
Yeah.
And it's true, right? Like I don't have the thing to tell you like, well, dude, if you take a cold shower, you're going to be more likely to take action. Like I don't know of anything that I do that does that, right? But what I do know is people who take massive action do it because the purpose of that action exceeds the cost of however difficult that action is going to be or that goal is going to be to hit.
Yeah.
So it's like, man, okay, you want to be a YouTuber? Well, guess what? Here's the cost.
Yep.
Editors, there's financial. You're gonna have to spend a lot of time on camera. You're gonna have to be ridiculed.
Yep.
You're gonna have to think of ideas. Like there's this cost associated with it. So first off, you got to understand what the true cost is.
Yep.
Then you'll look at it and you're like, all right, well, why do I want to be? What's the purpose of why I want to be a YouTuber? Okay, does it outweigh
the cost?
Yeah. And if it does, you'll do it.
Yeah.
Because it's worth it.
Yep.
And that purpose will push you through any struggles.
Yeah, that's right.
All the trials that come with achieving a goal. And I've just realized over the years that like most people who say things but never do them, it's because the purpose doesn't outweigh the cost. So like, well, yeah, I want to be a millionaire, obviously. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, well, here's the cost.
Here's the cost
to be a millionaire. And they're like, well, I don't want to call sellers every day.
Yeah.
You could tell somebody right now, oh, you want to make 250 grand as a realtor? Here's the cost.
Yep.
I need you to make this many calls a day, talk to this many people, post this many times.
Yep.
And if you do that, you'll do it.
Yeah.
And then people can make the judgment or not, whether they really want to make 250, because they might look at it and be like, after a week of doing it, like, no, making 250 is not that important.
Yeah.
Like I'm good at 60. For real. That's the choice people make.
And I think, it's definitely like for me, I've always said it's making your why bigger than you. Right. And the analogy or just what I've done to realize, like even in a workout, like when I used to do CrossFit stuff, I would think like, hey, I'm actually going to put for every set I do, I'm going to put $1 towards this nonprofit or feeding this, feeding the orphans. And so when I wanted to quit on me, I couldn't because I could, but there was no way because the why was bigger than me because I was actually going to help, like I'm actually going to help feed these kids.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't just quitting on myself. It was something that was bigger than me.
Yeah.
And so I think when you find that or figure out what those things can be, it changes the game.
100%. Like I'll tell you with Wealthy Kingdom, like obviously the purpose behind that is so much greater than anything else I'm doing. And the other stuff I do is obviously going to make way more money.
Yeah.
And it's like our programs and things cost thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars. But Wealthy Kingdom's going to be $100 a month.
Yeah.
And it's like the value they're going to get is crazy. Mm-hmm. And like financially, it doesn't make a lot of sense why we're doing it. But I'm like, look, I just want to get people in. And obviously I just want to create a system where there's some accountability and skin in the game.
Yep.
And, obviously we have money to grow it.
Yeah.
As a standalone thing.
Yep.
But financially, it doesn't make sense. But, purpose-wise, it's like far greater than the rest of it.
Yep.
And so like, you'll see when I start talking about it and the passion and everything else, it'll be like, dude, he's just like going full force to grow that thing.
Yeah.
And to plant these chapters and to do, like, even though it makes no sense financially.
Yeah. Yeah. Because the why is bigger.
The why is bigger than me.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And so it's like, there's a need. There's nowhere for Christian entrepreneurs to go.
Yeah.
I'm going to create it.
That's awesome.
And to your point, if you can make whatever it is you're doing in work bigger than you, right? And I think like bigger than you can be a lot of things. Like most people, when you start off, it's like, all right, well, I got to take care of my wife.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's like, this is bigger than me. Like I got to provide for my wife now. Like I'm not a single dude who can be broke anymore. That's kind of how I was. I mean, I was a single dude who was broke playing minor league baseball.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, I'll be broke. Like,
yeah, it's fine. I'm playing ball. It's
yeah,
good.
I'm doing my thing. I'm good. But then I got married and I'm like, all right, I can't be broke no more.
Yep.
Like I got to provide for my wife. So
Yeah.
like my desire to make more income was increased
because
it was not about me anymore.
Yeah.
And then, you know, kids and all that. And then like, even with building these businesses, it's like, yeah, I'm taken care of. Like I've been taken care of a long time ago, but my employees aren't yet. Like they've got dreams and goals. Like, how do I help them achieve it? How do I give them new opportunity? Our students, how do I help them get to the next goal? Like if I were to just stop and retire, like what a waste.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, like a waste on like almost like your calling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a waste.
Yeah.
But that it goes back to, because I'm very clear on this is bigger than me.
Yep.
And I guess for you, what like pushes you?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a great question. I mean, obviously like, hey, for, you know, my wife and my kids and, you know, leaving a legacy and all those things are great. But for me, I think I just believe that I can change a lot of people's lives and in a positive way. And so, you know, and so I want to be able to give back and use my gifts for, you know, God's glory and not just for, you know, for me or, so in that way, I just want to help change a lot of people's lives. So I have a story. There's this guy that I was working with, and he was looking at spending, you know, 40 million in Southwest Colorado, looking at Aspen, Vail, some of those bigger areas. And we met at the Breakers in Florida, and I had no idea what to expect when I met this guy. And he walks up and just, you know, obviously won't say what he looks like or all that kind of stuff, but high profile person.
Yeah.
And we
celebrity?
No, he's very quiet.
Just like a rich, you know, business guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Very quiet, about who he is and all that kind of stuff. But anyways, we started talking and we just connected, and we connected a lot about the travel stuff because he, you know, is from a different country and all that kind of stuff. And and honestly, I was actually there for last year. It was at Grant Cardone's like conference or whatever, 10X conference in Florida. And then
that's where you met him.
So I met him when I was down there. So I was down there for that, but we stayed for like 2 weeks and vacationed and stuff like that. And he was looking. We had already connected about Colorado property. And
how'd you guys even connect?
So I'm working for like a developer there. And so we were working on like these $4 million homes.
Got it.
And so he had reached out about that. So,
okay. Got it.
Yep. And so anyways, we started talking and we just connected about life. And he was like, man, like it's so cool that you can, you know, travel with your wife and bring her on these trips and have your kids and all that stuff. And he had just gone through a divorce, had a 4-year-old daughter. And he looked at me and he's like, man, I can have anything I want in this world, like tangibly. He's like, but I don't have what you have. And that kind of just hit me in the stomach. And I realized like, man, like I feel like there's more that I can give to people beyond just like helping them sell a house or buy a house. Right. Even if it is $40 million, like it's like, hey, I want to give back in a different way. Right. And so that's been kind of the thing that has kind of birthed this Barefoot Life thing.
I love that, bro. So if anyone wants to get it, it's barefootlife.com.
Yep.
If they want to get a house in Durango.
Yeah, you know who to reach out to, Kyle Kunkel.
How do they find you?
For real estate stuff, you can go to kylekunkel.com, but you know, for everything else, barefootlife.com.
Kyle Kunkel.
Yeah, Kunkel, like uncle, but Kunkel with a K.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome, bro. Well, it was great having you on the show, man.
Yeah, thank you, Ryan.
Love seeing, you know, believers in business doing great things, man. So I'm sure we'll be doing some more things together, dude. And appreciate you coming on.
Yeah,
guys.
thanks, Ryan. It was fun.
Guys, go follow Kyle. Go check out Barefoot Life, and make sure if you like this episode, you subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.